Would you like to have your mind blown right now? If you would, check out what I've been blessed with. Let me bless you with this miracle today. This just popped up on my feed. This guy here talking about his prophetic dream he had. Let me play it for you, and if for those that have been around here for a while, you'll see that this is the Most High, and that he's talking to a lot of people. What this guy dreamed about, he's not the only one that I've heard talking about their prophetic dreams, saying the same thing. Watch what he says, and we'll talk about how it's basically the same thing that I've been talking about, the same thing that happened to me. Check it out.
Last night. The dream that I had last night seemed so real. And when it comes to dreams like that, I truly do believe that they are supernatural in nature. So I had a dream, and I felt like I was awake. In the dream, I was asked, okay, so who wants to be the CEO of the company? And I was in a group of people, and the person that asked that question said it with an attitude of, he was very negative about the whole situation. I guess they lost their boss in my dream. They lost the CEO of the company, and they couldn't find anyone to fill that position because with that position came a lot of struggles. It paid a lot of money. However, nobody wanted to volunteer for that position because it was a position where if you don't do well, you are going to, there are a lot of negative repercussions for that. I remember I said, I'll do it. Because I wanted to get out of this situation so bad. I didn't care what the risks were, because things couldn't get any worse than what they are right now. So I took the position, and everybody was looking at me like, wow, this guy's insane for taking this job. But I started doing research immediately, and, really just learning about the job before I went at it, on my first day of being the CEO for whatever company this was. And later on in the dream, I remember being back in my car, and I was ready to lay down and go to sleep. And I started to do some research on the job. And as I was doing that, an individual who I don't know, couldn't see his face. It was a very quick interaction. He came up to my car, he opened up my car door, and he threw in an object, and he said, build it yourself. And he closed the door and he walked away, and I'm looking at this object, and I was expectant. I knew that this thing was coming. I don't know why I knew that, but I knew it was coming. I just didn't know exactly when. So he comes, he drops this thing in my car, and it's wrapped in some sort of packaging material. And I knew that inside of that packaging material was something that was supposed to help me do well at that job, being a CEO of this company. But it required, I guess, some assembly, because he just said with disdain in his voice, build it yourself, and walked away. I'm assuming that it must have been the previous CEO. I don't know. All I can do is speculate about the dream. I don't really know the meaning of this dream. But I knew that inside of the packaging was a golden lampstand. So I knew what it was, and I figured, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build it in the morning. So as I am about to do some more research on my position that I had volunteered to take, I see a glowing green light illuminate the cracks of my trunk. So if you look, my bed, it leads into the trunk. So as I'm laying down, head facing this way, I can see in the cracks of the trunk a green light appear. And with that, I heard a very animalistic groan or growl.
So there you go. The golden lampstand, if for those of you who've been paying attention, we've been studying about the golden lampstand, and I've shown you how it was all, the golden lampstand is all about the house. It's the truth of the house, and coming home is what it's all about. And I got one huge piece of evidence right here that I can show you that'll prove to you that the Most High has been giving me this truth about it. It's evidence that the Most High has been giving me my information, and that it's spot on. It's going to blow your mind when you see what the Most High was showing me before October 7th about what was coming, and it's spot on. And it's according to Scripture, to the Word. This guy here is talking about the global support for ISIS-Rael now since October 7th. Listen to what he says.
As we broadcast this morning, Los Angeles
has lost the support of almost an entire generation of young people. And when you consider that this current episode began with the atrocity of October the 7th in Israel by Hamas, the reversal is absolutely extraordinary. The victims of a terror attack 7 months later are not just for this generation, but for others as well. Anybody who was unattached on October the 7th, anybody who was either confused, ambivalent, or objective on October the 7th, if you had said to them that 7 months later Israel would be in a pariah state, effectively, they would not have believed you. And it is the young people. And then, listen, it's hundreds. You don't know that they're representative of everybody on campus. And there have been clashes, violent clashes in cases, between some people protesting their support for Israel and some people protesting their opposition to it. Police in riot gear moving in, and these encampments have been there for weeks. And in the idealistic minds of these young people, their cause is incredibly simple. They want the killing in Gaza to stop. And in response, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the members of his government that I've just quoted, are adamant that it will not. So why is there even any lingering sense that these protests are illegitimate or somehow wrong? I wondered yesterday what the line would be that attempted to discredit or delegitimize these protests. And the line is, in the media today, the line is that they've been somehow infiltrated by outsiders and that this is not a proper representation of student feeling, which seems to me to be a bit of a push. And I think today's the day to ask why. I think that today is the day to ask why and how. So I may need to speak to younger people. Anti-apartheid protests probably would be a valid comparison in this space. I want you to explain to somebody, me, I suppose, how the pendulum has swung so violently from support and sympathy to condemnation and, I think it's fair to say, listening to some of these calls, contempt. 0345 6060 973 is the number that you need. I challenge the narrative as well. But I think, and I speak to quite a lot of young people, although not very often about politics, to be honest with you, but I think that there is an incredible consensus among the sixth form and above in this country that Israel is embarked upon a course of cataclysmic wrongdoing. 10, 15 years from now, when we try to work out why the world is the way that it is, the events of the last 7 months are going to be writ so large in the minds and memories of these people. These are future leaders of America, remember. These are Ivy League colleges. These are prestigious seats of learning. And the consensus on campus seems to be that Israel has embarked upon a cataclysmic campaign of killing, which has not only left tens of thousands of completely innocent Palestinians dead. Of course, plenty of people in the Israeli government who reject the concept. They reject the concept of an innocent Palestinian, of an innocent Gazan. And the hemorrhaging of both support. You can't hemorrhage sympathy. You can't feel less sorry, less heartbroken by the events of October the 7th than you did 7 months ago. But the hemorrhaging of support and the dilution of sympathy subsequent to that day has absolutely stunned me.
He was stunned, folks.
It's absolutely
and he's not the only one. I mean, everyone has been left scratching their head, as you know, because of what's going on with Israel. But look, even if you go back through my videos, look at the video I made titled, "Can I Get a Yes Please?" It was titled, I put it out, made it and published it on October 6th. And it was about the Codex Sassoon landing the day before in Israel. The scroll written on either side. And they made had this big celebration because it landed, it came flying in on this special airplane to a warm reception on the tarmac when it arrived. And the next day, all hell broke loose. And all before that, for the month before that, leading up to that, we were reading the Bible like we always do. And the Most High was showing us all about the image of the beast, exposing it to us. And then he led us and showed us the flying scroll, the sign of the flying scroll, and boom, the next day, all hell broke loose, and it hasn't stopped. And we knew that was going to happen because of the word the Most High was giving us, feeding us. Remember back then I was saying, get your bibs on. I wasn't lying. And that lets you know what's going on, that everything the Most High's been showing me has been the Most High's word, and he's been calling to you. Look what that boy dreamed about the golden lampstand. If you remember, we went through it in Zechariah about what the golden lampstand is, what the two witnesses are. It's all about the slaughter place. Let me prove it to you some more in the word. Let's go back to the word. So we were in the last chapter we read was Zechariah 14, and it was talking about right here, and in that day it shall be that living waters flow from Jerusalem. Okay, and we read all of that. So let's get the next book. That's Malachi. Let's see what it has to say. I'm going to kind of skim over a little bit for sake of time, but let's see what chapter 1 has to say. The message of the word of Yahuwah to Yasharal by Malachi. I have loved you, said Yahuwah, but you asked, in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, declares Yahuwah, and I love Jacob. See, this go back to all the last video. that I made. And all before that, I've been saying that the reason he says, he always lets us know that he loves Jacob and hates Esau, is because Esau declined his inheritance. He traded it for a bowl of slop. Okay, and that's what the world's doing right now, or whatever. You could be trading it for a McLaren, a Ferrari, I don't know, 40-acre piece of land. Whatever it is you're trading it for, you're trading it, and you're refusing your inheritance the Most High has to give you. So that puts you in the category of Esau. You know how I always say there's two types of people. There's the people who have the seal of the Most High on their forehead, and the people who have the mark of the beast on their forehead. That's true. And you could also say this. You could say that there's people in the Esau category and in the Jacob category, and that's it. You either want your inheritance or you don't. Whatever the excuse may be, that makes you Esau. But I have hated Esau and have laid waste his mountains and his inheritance for the jackals of the wilderness. See, that's what this is all about. And if you keep reading this, the next book, you'll come to Psalms. You keep reading Psalms, and it goes, it's all in order, and it's all in code, and it's all a message, instructions. That not just the average reader, the people who just skim through and pick a verse here and there, but when you get the context and you get reading this and you see and you understand that you must follow the Lamb and come home, when you start to do that, and you're going to see that here too, he's going to tell you why it is that someone would get this truth. It's because they've set their eyes on Jerusalem and the feast days, doing that which is continual and coming home. But all these books are in order, and they're all on message, and it's the same message that you got to come in and come out. And see, look here, border of wrongness. If Edom says, we have been beaten down, let us return and build the ruins. Yahuwah of hosts said thus, let them build, but I tear down, and they shall be called border of wrongness. So what, and we hear about the border of wrongness, the house of wrongness, all through the word. We know if he's saying the border of wrongness, he's saying let them build, but I tear down. He's talking about them building the border of wrongness. That's what he's talking about. But if you skip up here to chapter 3, you can see that the whole message, my Mishpachah, the reason that boy had that dream, the reason I've been dreaming all that I've dreamed, and I've documented it right here on this channel and my other channel, about the measurements, the Hakal, about returning and rebuilding the house. That's what this is all about. Oh yeah, and by the way, that boy's name is David too, by the way. What a coinkydink, huh? But look what this says here in Malachi 3. See, I am sending my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. Then suddenly the master you are seeking comes to his Hakal, even the messenger of the covenant in whom you delight. See, he is coming, said Yahuwah of hosts, and who is able to bear the day of his coming, and who is able to stand when he appears? For he is like the fire of a refiner and like the soap of a launderer. And see, what he's talking about here is I've been saying, you ain't going to see the Messiah coming down on the cloud. He's already here. His feet's landed here in Jerusalem, and them waters are flowing out. Who can stand? Whoever can't come home, can't see the truth of coming home back to Jerusalem, to the true Jerusalem, and making what is set apart right again, they're not standing. They're not able to stand. All this word is about coming in and coming out. Watch. Who is able to bear the day of his coming, and who is able to stand when he appears? For he is like the fire of a refiner and like the soap of a launderer. And he shall sit as a refiner and a cleanser of silver, and he shall cleanse the sons of Levi and refine them as gold and silver, and they shall belong to Yahuwah, bringing near and offering in righteousness. See, that how they're cleansed is they bring near an offering in righteousness. And that's coming home, coming to Jerusalem on the feast days to tabernacle with the Most High, that's walking in righteousness. That's following your order, the order of things. Bringing near an offering, and you're going to see. Then shall the offering of Yehuda and Jerusalem be pleasant to Yahuwah, as in the days of old, as in the former year. See, as when they came. And I shall draw near to you for right ruling, and I shall be a swift witness against the practicers of witchcraft, against adulterers, and against them that swear to falsehood, and against those who oppress the wage earner in his wages, and widows and the fatherless, and those who turn away a sojourner and do not fear me, said Yahuwah of hosts. You see? Now watch this. Right here. Would a man rob the Most High? Yet you are robbing me. But you have said, and what have we robbed you? In the tithe and the offering. This is what it's about. Coming in and coming out. You have cursed me with a curse, for you are robbing me, this nation, all of it. Bring all. This is what you got to do in order to repent, in order to turn it around, so he's no longer at odds with you. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, and let there be food in my house. That's what it's about. And just think about it. If you can't do that, then you don't love the Most High. You ain't about nothing. You've been bullshitting this whole time. And now that the day of battle has arrived, you're nowhere to be found. It wouldn't take that much for you to look into this to see if you've been lied to. The image of the beast has lied to you, hoodwinked you, just like it did everybody. No one's above this. And see the truth of it, and find the true location of your true home, and come in. Be blessed coming in and blessed coming out. And understand that that's just what the Most High wants you to do. And if you don't think so, then you're saying you call the shots, that you're chief. But we both know that you're not chief. So just quit the act. You have to give all esteem to the Most High, Abba Yahuwah. All praise, all honor, and all glory, all the time. Stay consistent in digging through this word. You'll see that it's all code, and that the more you read, the more you unlock. That key of David is following the Lamb. It's when you look at the word with a lamb's perspective, you understand that Passover, that doing that which is continual, is what the Most High wants, and that's coming in and coming out on the feast days, getting your inheritance from him, letting him give you your inherited land. If you're his child, you'll be in the tribes of Yasharal, and that's what he wants you to do. That's why he says right here, look, he says, bring all the tithes into the storehouse. This is what he wants you to do. And let there be food in my storehouse, and please prove me in this, said Yahuwah of hosts, whether I do not open for you the windows of the heavens, and shall pour out for you boundless blessing. See, that's what I've been talking about. When you do this, when you look at everything, the word, with a lamb's perspective, that's why the lamb was worthy to open the scrolls. When you do that, and you see that you have to come home, that's what being a child of the Most High is. That's what you do. You do that which is continual. You guard the charge of his children. When you do that, you'll bring the tithes into the storehouse. And when you do that, he opens the windows of the heavens, of the truth. That's where I've gotten all this truth from. He says it over and over, that he gives it to the person who is within his boundaries, in the borders of his land. This is all about a land. Right here, look. And I shall rebuke the devourer for you, so that it does not destroy the fruit of your ground, nor does the vine fail to bear fruit for you in the field, said Yahuwah of hosts. And all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a land of delight, said Yahuwah of hosts. That's what this is all about, baby. It's coming home. The Son of Righteousness rising with healing in its wings. That lets you know where the true place is. Look, And you shall, okay, let me just take it from the top. For look, the day shall come burning like a furnace, and all the proud and every wrongdoer shall be stubble, and the day that shall come shall burn them up, said Yahuwah of hosts, which leaves them neither root nor branch. But to you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings. We always wondered what that meant. That means the truth. The sun rises and shines the light on the ground, on the earth. Go through the word, you'll see. I'm not just making this up. This is facts. This is factual, what I'm saying right now. What he's talking about is that it rose and showed you where your home was, because the healing comes when you come in and come out. Do you see? And if you don't know where your home is, you're not healed. You're sick. The whole head, everything. Until you realize where your home is, that's where the power is. The power is in Yerushalayim. Prove me wrong, you can't. And when you go to dipping into that power, you're going to see. And that's why he says, you shall go out and leap for joy like calves from the stall. And you shall trample the wrongdoers, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet on the day that I do this, said Yahuwah of hosts. See, all these words are all necessary. He ain't just talking. The reason he says there'll be ashes under the soles of your feet, he's letting you know, that's a wink wink, that you walk. You got to come home. And when you do, everyone else that isn't, that's standing in your way, or that you're walking past or away from to come home, they're ashes under the soles of your feet. Anyone else that's not walking in the direction that you are is a wrongdoer. That's why he says right here, remember the Torah of Moses. What did Moses do? They came out of Egypt and went home. We are no better than them. They had to go home, so do we. This ain't a fantasy land where you just get whisked away up into some make-believe heaven or something. You actually have to want this. You couldn't before, because we were in the time of the end. Now we're in the time of the end where people like that are getting those dreams. And we've been reading all that we've been reading, all the stuff that's happened. The stuff that's going on with Israel, it's not going to stop. It's the house of the wrong, of the thief. It's going into destruction. Trust me when I tell you. Remember the Torah of Moses, my servant, which I commanded him in Horeb for all Yasharal laws and right rulings. See, I am sending you Elijah the prophet before the coming and the great and awesome day of Yahuwah. That's happened. That happened back 2017, 2018. We've been dealing with all the Baal worship stuff. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children. We all know that part. So now look, you go straight to Psalms. It says, blessed, chapter 1, verse 1, blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong. Now, look, you might think that that's just, he's being vague, like being, that's like a metaphor, but let me let you in on something right now. That is, you do have to hold yourself and behave, that's what walking means, but he's also including you walking back to Yerushalayim. In that right there, what we just read, I promise you. Read it thoroughly and you'll see I'm not BSing you. He's winking at you right now. Walk. He covers everything. So don't try to box him in and think that he can only have fulfill one or two desired outcomes by saying a word. He's got all the right moves. So don't forget that. But he says, blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and he meditates in his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, the fountain of life, of the waters of life, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prospers. The wrong are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind blows away. Therefore the wrong shall not rise in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahuwah knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wrong comes to nothing. Oh, if you read this understanding that it's in code, you'll understand that there's a message, underlying message that's telling you got to come home, follow the Lamb. But it's not right out. It's in riddles and parables. That's how the Most High speaks, and he tells us that. And the reason that is to separate the real from the fake, the real from the posers, the real who really tremble over his word, the crushed in spirit, the poor and the needy, the brokenhearted, the lonely. They'll tremble over his word, and they'll find this message, this code, and they'll come home and live. They'll be meek and humble. But the proud, they can't see it because they refuse to believe there could be such a message, a code, laying in this word like this. They believe they know all the word has to say. That's where they go wrong. If you trust me when I tell you that there's a message, listen to the words of this and watch. Watch the Most High open up, give you the key of David, that hidden manna that will bring you home, that will set you free indeed. Why do the nations rage and the peoples meditate emptiness? The sovereigns of the earth take their stand, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahuwah and against his Messiah, and say, let us tear apart their bonds and throw away their ropes from us. Now their ropes, it has a lot to do with coming home. You following your orbit, your track back to Jerusalem on the feast days. And the reason he mentions the Messiah here in Psalms before the Messiah is because that's what the Messiah showed us. He showed us. That's how we have to live. He's the Lamb, and he went to Jerusalem on the feast days. He done that which the Most High desires us to do. So part of what he showed us is that we come in and we come out. And that's our bonds. That's those ropes. Watch. He who is sitting in the heavens laughs. Yahuwah mocks at them. Then he speaks to them in his wrath and troubles them in his rage, saying, but I have set my sovereign on Zion, my set apart mountain. See? Boom. He said back up here, he said that the enemy, that the sovereigns of the earth take their stand, the rulers counsel together against Yahuwah and the Messiah. And this is how they do that. They say, let us tear apart their bonds and throw away their ropes. And the Most High laughs because he says, but I have set my sovereign on Zion, my set apart mountain. That's the rope. You can't get rid of this mountain, his mountain. The truth of it shall be found if you go searching. You can't get rid of it. But the enemy lied to you about where it was, about all the people, all the history, all the events, to get you to look away from it, to destroy you. That's the trap, the snare that's been set. But the truth is in his set apart mountain. That's where the deliverance is, the salvation. I inscribed for a law. See, and that's the law that he inscribes, is that you come in and come out. I inscribed for a law. Yahuwah has said to me, you are my son, today I have brought you forth. That's what he's meaning. I have brought you forth. You come in and you come out. You bow yourself. Ask of me, and I make the nations your inheritance. See this message? You see this code that he's telling us? He's kind of, I don't know if you'd say nonchalantly, but indirectly, however you'd say it, he's telling us without just coming right out and saying it. But if you really love him and tremble over his word, you're going to be picking up on what he's putting down. Guarantee you. He's trying to give you your inheritance, and you can take it. If you can't, the world thinks that that's too real. That's getting too real, that they just need to just live their life out here in fantasy land and vote and do all that kind of crap and end up in the kingdom somehow. No, the end is just like when they come out of Egypt with Moses. They followed Moses. They didn't get to just dream that into existence. That they actually had to walk and go through the sea when he parted it, and follow the pillars of fire, all that stuff. So now he said that this would happen a second time. This is the second time it's here. And if you don't wake up to this truth, you're going to miss your opportunity. The opportunity of a lifetime, baby. Let me tell you, there is no other opportunity. Break them with a rod of iron, dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. See, the potter's vessel is the slaughterhouse. He's winking. That's more code. And break them with the rod of iron, because the rod of iron is the measuring rod for the house to bring you home. If you ain't in the house where and that's the measurement right there. That's the full measure when you come home. And now be wise, O sovereigns, be instructed. Be instructed. Remember, we've read that he said, your strength has been commanded to you. Your command is to come in and come out. That's your strength. That's your deliverance. That's your power. You're blessed coming in and blessed going out. That's what you do. And we can do it right now, right here in America. And if you're in America, count yourself blessed. You have the opportunity of a lifetime to make your way to Utah, to the Wasatch Valley Plateau, to where Jerusalem truly sits. Yeah. And if you don't believe that, come check the facts. I'd be more than happy to lay it all back out for you anytime. Be instructed, you rulers of the earth. Serve Yahuwah with fear and rejoice with trembling. See, serve him with fear. When you serve, you ain't serving him if you're not coming in and coming out. And if you do, you rejoice with trembling. Kiss the chosen, lest he be enraged. The chosen, the Messiah, he showed us the way to go, the Lamb. And we must follow him. We must pick up our stake. We must walk away from Babylon, from the money, cars, and the clothes, from all this material stuff, from the cares and the lust of this world. We must walk into thin air, if you will, back home. Because when you walk back home right now in this time, this great time of confusion and madness and blindness and genocide and murder and just insanity, if you walk home now in the midst of all this, you're gonna probably have to walk alone. That's what this is about. That's why he, over and over again, he tells us that only the lonely, the poor and the needy, the crushed in spirit, the brokenhearted, the meek will make it home. You have to walk that straight and narrow, and it brings you to Jerusalem. So kiss the Messiah, follow him. That's being washed in the blood when you come home. And you perish in the way, for soon his wrath is to be kindled. Blessed are all those taking refuge in him, following the Lamb. O Yahuwah, how my adversaries have increased, many rising up against me. Many are saying of me, there is no deliverance for him in the Most High, Salah. But you, O Yahuwah, are a shield for me, my esteem, and the one lifting up my head. Over and over again, we see how we just read the other day, several times, where he says he's going to shield the inhabitants of Jerusalem in the day of wrath. You are a shield. And the many are saying there's no deliverance for him. The whole world's saying that. I cried to Yahuwah with my voice and he heard me from his set apart mountain, Salah. There you go. He's saying, they were saying there's no deliverance, but you, O Yahuwah, are a shield to me. How is he a shield to him? From his set apart mountain, I promise you. That's what he's getting at right there. That's why he said verse 4. Because the only deliverance in the time of the end, it's just like the ark. You can find it all through the word. You go read Enoch, the whole book of Enoch's about it. 2nd Esdras, 29th chapter of Acts, all the prophets, Revelations. The name Revelations means the location, revelation of the location of the house. It's all about finding the house and coming home. That's the new Jerusalem coming down out of heaven. It's not literally, a city's not literally coming down out of the sky. No, what you're getting right now is the new Jerusalem coming down out of the heaven. It's the truth of it, and you can come home to it now and live. And the only ones who will live are those who do that. I laid down and slept. I awoke, for Yahuwah sustained me. I am not afraid of 10,000s of people who have set themselves against me all around. Arise, O Yahuwah, save me, O my Most High, because you have stricken all my enemies on the cheek. You have broken the teeth of the wrong. The teeth of the wrong, that's him letting you know that what the wrong, how they had a hold of you, was through lies and deception. And when you realize that the image of the beast is what it is, that it's Israel, the false Zionist crap over there, that you realize that where you can start looking for your true home, and their teeth will be broken from you. So, and that's deliverance. Deliverance belongs to Yahuwah. Your blessings is on your people. His people come in and come out to the true location. He don't move his residence for you or for anybody. He placed his name in one spot, and it does not change. Answer me when I call, oh, my mighty Most High of my righteousness. You gave relief to me when I was in distress. Show favor to me and hear my prayer. Till when, O you sons of men, would you turn my esteem to shame? Would you love emptiness, seek falsehood, Salah? But know that Yahuwah has separated a lovingly committed one for himself. Yahuwah hears when I call to him. Tremble and do not sin. Speak within your heart on your bed and be still, Salah. Slaughter slaughterings of righteousness and trust in Yahuwah. Many are saying, who would show us good? Yahuwah, lift up the light of your face upon us. You have put more gladness in my heart than in the season that their grain and wine increased. I lie down in peace altogether and sleep for you alone, O Yahuwah, make me dwell in safety. It's all about dwelling. But if you keep reading, that's what it is. And more like stuff gets like straight up, like check out chapter 9 right here. Check this out. The enemy is no more. Ruins everlasting, and you have uprooted the cities, even their remembrance have perished. And you keep reading. But Yahuwah abides forever. He is preparing his throne for judgment, and that's the judgment. If you can't come home to the throne and look for it, and look right here is more proof about the crushed ones. And Yahuwah is a refuge for the crushed one, a refuge in time of distress. Sing praises to Yahuwah who dwells in Sion. Declare his deeds among the peoples. And the deeds he's talking about is coming home, following him through the wilderness, getting in the ark when it came time, so that I declare all your praise in the gates of the daughter of Sion. See? The nations have sunk down in the pit which they made, in the net which they hid. Their own foot is caught. That's that lie about our home. So trust me, Mishpachah, the truth is in here, and you must return. And look, there's a reason these people are having these dreams. That man had this dream, that dream he had. When I started this out, like when this whole thing about the land started with me, it was like 3 years ago. And some of my sisters I know were watched me back then, and they'll agree, they'll tell you that I was talking about reading Ezekiel, and that I felt like the Most High wanted me to read Ezekiel and understand the measurements of the dwelling place, of the Hakal. And I really didn't know why, and I had dreams. I had a dream that I was on the flat top mountain, that's the mountain of peaks, and I was looking south, and I could see supernaturally up into the city of Houston, which is the city where my father's people's from, all my dad's people are from. And and the stars were real close, like the planets were real close, that was letting me know that I would be on that mountain, and on that mountain, the truth would be close to me, that he would drop. That's what it means when he says the heavens dropped in Psalm 68. He stepped through the earth and the heavens dropped. And I was looking into the city where my people come from, where I always felt like I had to go back to, because that's where we really come from, you know, my whole life. And that's it. That related to me seeing the true, my true home, where my true people came from, and that's Jerusalem, right here on this mountain, right here where I'm at. And I came home. The Most High led me, and it's the most beautiful thing. You couldn't make 1,000 movies to put it all, to capture it all. It's just unbelievable. And no one wants to believe it. Just like in that boy's dream, he said that they were asking who wanted to be the CEO, but nobody wanted to do it because they know the grief that it come with. And it does. This job does come with a lot of headache and grief, and no one wants to listen. Everyone mocks and scoffs. But just remember, it pays really good. I'm talking about all the wealth, all the riches. Jerusalem, your inheritance. Being Jacob and not Esau. Following the Lamb, not the wrong. Coming home where you belong.